Hello! Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully we don't buffer. Aaron did his live stream earlier and tested out all of the kinks by having every problem go wrong during the live stream, mainly because the hotel Wi-Fi, despite being tested yesterday, apparently is just too slow for upload. So I'm very curious to know if people can see it, how it is doing. I don't have any view of the chat, so I might be getting a view of the chat. It's possible. Should I just watch on my phone? It'll be behind, but so welcome everyone. It is 7:30 p.m. here in Austria. I am in Austria. I was in Bratislava last week. I am here for like about another week. I'm not being like wildly productive or anything right now. This is supposed to be a studycation where I study, but of course I haven't been doing nearly as much as I hoped I would. Christopher says, Aaron should have told us that you were going early. I'm guessing you're not prepared to go live in the wee hours of the morning. I was considering it and I got discouraged. The reason I really decided not to do it was because we've been here now for almost a week, like been in this time zone for almost a week, and I'm fully like switched over. We actually did a great job of avoiding jet lag, and I didn't really want to screw it up by staying up late. Additionally, tomorrow we are actually going to be going out to watch the sunrise from a rooftop like breakfast. So we have to leave the hotel at like 6 in the morning to get there for sunrise. So yeah. Dean says, yay for a time zone in my favor for a change. Yes, luckily Europe doesn't have to be up at bananas early in the morning to actually watch the live stream. I'm not positive that it will actually be a great live stream, but you know, we'll try. I've been wandering around Vienna. Interestingly enough, since we've been here, I pulled the donuts out of the shot because I was going to show them to you, but we actually have a donut cam. So I managed to successfully walk my way into a donut shop in Vienna and order these donuts entirely in German. It has been very heartening that I've had so many customer service interactions where the German has continued, and upon hearing my extremely strong American accent in German, they have not switched to English. I'm not positive that it's actually a reflection on how fantastic my German is, more than possibly a reflection on how much less confident Viennese customer service people are in their own English, which I'm sure is still better than my German most of the time. But it makes me feel like I am successful every time I have an interaction where I understand what is happening in German. Did have an experience like last night, I think it was, where I was just not getting the grasp of what the person was asking me. And Erin and I were discussing, we were like, we think she had a really strong accent because she was saying words that I definitely know. We figured it out. There was some back and forth, but we did figure it out. Eyeshadow matches cushions. We realized that we actually did the Ukrainian colors. Not that I have a lot of influence on this. This is just the hotel decoration, but we try and do the Ukrainian colors. It's been really interesting to see here in Europe, especially like as we get closer to Eastern Europe, both Slovakia and Austria have had like in the train stations, there's huge signs up and pointing towards where refugees, there's Ukrainian flags everywhere. There, St. Stephen's Cathedral, which is a cathedral from 1423 in the center of Vienna. It's a very famous cathedral. I walked up all 343 steps up to the top of the tower, but it's probably the most photographed thing in Vienna as a tourist destination, and they have two massive Ukrainian flags on the side of this huge cathedral that say "Stop War" on them. So there has been, it has a different vibe than the United States. Like, I feel like in the United States, I've definitely, like, people are talking about it. Everyone's eyes are towards the war, but it feels much closer to home because it is here. We've seen like quite a few people crowded around the information stations and the legal aid in both the Bratislava Central train station and the Vienna Central train station. So it's definitely been fascinating to see, and I hope that that all the refugees from Ukraine are getting the services they need. It's pretty heartbreaking. Yes, it is a Wiener Donutin. Actually, the plural of donuts is not Donuten in German. It is just donuts with an S, because German likes, it's just like English. It likes to be really consistent with how you pluralize things until suddenly it isn't anymore. And then there's a new way to pluralize things. And I think it's because donut is a foreign word. But they just thought it sounded better with an S. But yeah, actually, the way you pluralize donuts in German is donuts. Fuzzbubble says, "Wow, that aerial skating shot." So yeah, all that drone footage was shot by Aaron when we were in Bratislava. Aaron actually brought the DJI like mini drone. It's about yay big. It's very cute. It landed in my hand, which made me feel like I was in like an AI movie. Brought it with us, however, only able to fly it actually in Slovakia because Austria has extremely strict rules around flying it. In addition, Wien is very crowded, and like finding open space, even if we're able to like get all the legal rules down for being able to fly it here, would be really challenging because, you know, you can't fly over people generally. You don't want to fly over people. And the in Slovakia, like Bratislava was very, like, we pretty much had the like Bratislava castle like to ourselves. It was, which is why we were able to get so many drone shots of it. So Bratislava for some reason has not picked back up the tourism. I will say that Vienna, like, it feels very pre-pandemic as far as the crowds on the streets, although I think that might have been because I don't remember just how crowded it was. Last time I was here was 7 years ago, so it has been a while. But it's very crowded, and the main things are that you do get vaccination checked when you go into any restaurants, pretty much. And there's only been like a few where we haven't gotten vaccination checked, and most of those are been because we've been doing takeaway. And people are still wearing masks inside of buildings, except for when they're eating at restaurants. They originally were about to remove everything on March 5th in Austria. But unfortunately, within like 1 day of introducing them, they started rolling them back. And that is because they're actually going through the worst wave of the pandemic that they've had yet right now in Austria. So it will be a miracle if I don't come back with COVID, and it will be only thanks to vaccination, unfortunately, because they've got like 40,000 new cases a day. And it looks like the dominant variant is the B2 variant of Omicron here, which unfortunately has more severe disease as far as we understand, and is more infectious than the original version of Omicron. So yeah. Cheryl says, "I love you spinning in the garden." Yeah, we realized that that was like footage that we can get. You're not supposed to fly over people that don't know, but you can fly over people that know they're in it. So we realized that would work well. And also my coat is like a giant skirt, so it looks great when it spins. Yeah, so the donuts that I got, I'm not entirely sure what one of the flavors is, despite conducting this whole transaction in German and having to ask which donuts were vegan and everything. I was very proud. They weren't labeled, so I had to ask. I know that this one is is this in frame? Possibly. Or is the donut cam dead?
It's dead.
It's dead? Okay. All right. Well, donut cam will just be me holding them up. So this donut is a apple cinnamon donut. And then This one is a cronut, which I don't entirely understand what's going on. And I think it either has lemon in it or it has like vanilla pudding. I really have no idea. Does anybody know what the difference between a cronut and a donut is? I think it's like a mashup of something else. I think we'll just dive into eating the donut. Oh yeah, I'm also might have lost a camera, unfortunately, while I'm here. I'm still holding out hope that I left it on the Ube train and they're going to be able to help me recover it because they're very organized and Austrian. And I know exactly, if I did lose it on the train, I know exactly which carriage, which train, which day. So we'll see. All right, let's try out these donuts. This is the apple cinnamon one. Oh, it has like actual little bits of apple cinnamon in it. Like applesauce kind of, like the filling that you would have in an apple pie. It's really good. Cronuts are just deep fried croissant dough. So the inside of the donut is croissanty. Okay, so this one's definitely a regular donut, but I think the other one is a cronut. Dean says, I do remember that the cakes and patisseries were incredible in Wien. Well, they're very proud of their Viennese coffee culture. And I gotta say, as someone who likes my coffee served to me in particular third waves ways, I am not particularly impressed by the Viennese coffee. And it's all kind of making sense to me now because one, the Viennese coffee culture is actually a UNESCO World Heritage protected culture or whatever the heck that means. It means they've recognized it as an important thing to preserve. But apparently after the siege of Vienna, when the Turks were trying to invade and then they failed to take over Vienna, they left behind bags of coffee, and then the Viennese, I guess, just figured out how to make it and decided they liked it, which I feel like explains why I'm not impressed with the way that they make coffee. And now they're like obsessed with the tradition, which was based on people who figured out how to make coffee by trial and error, I guess. So this is quite good. The apple cinnamon. All right, we're gonna go for the cronut. Let's find out. Oh, I do see how it has like, it is kind of like the inside. It's like if you stacked all the layers of a croissant on the inside. I don't know if we can maybe get a better view of this, but it's got like all these layers on it. It's very interesting. Okay. We'll find out what flavor it is too. It is vanilla pudding. Oh my God. It's just layers of vegan vanilla pudding in between deep fried croissant dough. And then it's like covered in the sugary. This is like nothing I've ever eaten before. It's really quite incredible. I'm not sure it's like my favorite donut, but I'm enjoying I'm eating a thing I have not had before. And it's good. It's very messy. Wow. Can we like look at how much it's like dripping on the inside there? It's like all of these stacked layers. 5 out of 5 for this guy. I don't think we have the donut rating system on this live stream, but oh my gosh. I'm finishing this, even though it's the worst live stream food. It's like covered in powdered sugar, so it's coating my lips, and I'm possibly gonna inhale it. It's also filled with pudding, so it's like dripping, and it's very noisy, so I think I'm eating it right next to a mic. Is this disgusting or is it ASMR? These are the real questions. Cheryl asked if Erin got any donuts. I have not found any sugar-free, sugar-light donuts yet. But we have had raw cake multiple times. Bratislava was actually, I was surprised at how readily available raw cake, cheesecake and stuff was there. Apparently it is donut ASMR for sure. Well, I hope it's positive ASMR. Yeah, this is great. So things that we did. So we went to Bratislava and mostly just kind of bummed around the town. We got to meet up with Aaron's factory that 3D prints all of his stands and stuff that he manufactures for P3K, which is his like kind of live streaming accessories brand. And we got to meet Lefteris and Martina. Lefteris is like that owns the company that prints it, and got to see like an army of 3D printing robots. And then we also got to go to Bratislava Castle. You got to see all the drone shots of that. Another cool thing we did was go to a tea bunker, which was a tea house located in an actual bomb shelter 12 meters underground, but it was a tea house. So it was like all of these bunker rooms. There was no cell service. It's like still considered a bunker for the area for the people that live in the neighborhoods. And there was no cell service in it. It's protected for biological bomb and some other kind of warfare. And it can house like 60 people. So it's just like all of these chambers, but it was a tea house. And the thing that was interesting is they had tea shots. So you could actually get tea. And then they also had tea beer. So we got to try, and it looked like beer. It tasted nothing like beer, but it looked like beer, like foam and everything on the top. I think we have some clips from Bratislava that we can show on there. Some edited together clips. I don't know if it's playing or if I'm just vamping. Okay. Yeah, Dean says, I remember in Vienna seeing some kind of wartime architecture, like a whole block of gardens in this giant concrete structure, and it's scary. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that the love of having bomb shelters still available that both the Cold War and World War II impressed upon us. Right now, I think people are really feeling that way in Ukraine. I feel like I've been reminded how important it is to know where your emergency structures are in your neighborhood. So, Cheryl says, besides the house channel, you need a traveling channel. I mean, I could put travel content on this channel if I want to. I would just have to actually put videos up, which is really a struggle. So we'll see how that goes. I am filming a bit while I'm here, so possibly a travel vlog from Austria. You realize you're now just showing the screen in the back, right? Is that what's happening? Or you were for a second. Yeah, so today I ended up spending 18 euros to go to the Art History Museum. And I went because I was like looking on Instagram at the Vienna hashtags to see like where people have really good backdrops. And I saw the Art History Museum and I was like, that looks like an extremely extra building. And usually I'm kind of like over like cathedrals and palaces and stuff like that, because once you've traveled in Europe at some point, you just feel like you've seen a lot of palaces in the same style and cathedrals, and they all kind of look the same. But I was like, this is seriously extra. And this place is like comparable with the Sistine Chapel for like the level of extraness of it. I think we have some clips of it, but we'll see which clips I actually managed to show. Yeah, we'll put some on the screen. It was like the rooms were so large. It was so large that they were doing construction on the outside, and the like outside construction part that you weren't allowed into was bigger than most palaces I have seen. It was really quite substantially massive, but it was a very beautiful building. I think the coolest exhibit of the exhibits that they had was part of their permanent collection is a collection of all of the coins dating back to Roman times from tons of different countries, and all of the tiny portraits of different emperors and empresses and kings and queens and czars around Asia, Africa, and Europe, mostly Europe, but all these tiny portraits that were used in order to make the castings for their coins. And then they also had a bunch of dollars and like currency, like paper currency that was issued by a bunch of different countries. And they had like a one from the Confederacy. They had quite a few from Roman times. They had quite a few, one from South Carolina, which specified that it was printed on Spanish paper, which I found very interesting. I think the reuse of a bunker as a tea house looks really neat. So we were going around trying to find a like good bar to go into, because we were like, oh, let's have a nightcap before we go home and like experience Bratislava. It's very much seen as like sort of a stag party city. So but it didn't really have a ton of nightlife going on when we were there, because things just aren't totally back. Like it seemed like there was far less tourism in Bratislava than there is in Vienna, like even when adjusting for the scale of the towns. But so we were kind of looking for a bar. We weren't really finding anything that like looked like a good place. And then we smelled this incredible smell out of this back alley, and we like turned, and it turns out it was a tea house, and you could like look into this like deep staircase, and we were like, yeah. Each room was decorated like a different country that tea comes from. So, well, country or continent that tea comes from. So we were like very much in the Ethiopia room. It was all like painted with all sorts of animals from Ethiopia. It was very cool. Yeah, I have a clip of me walking up the stairs, but for some reason the camera and the phones and the airdrop were just not allowing me to transfer the 1 minute of footage of me trying to climb the stairs as quickly as I could at St. Stephen's Cathedral. There's 343 stairs up to the top, and if you've ever climbed like a lighthouse or any like old cathedrals kind of turnstile towers, you'll know that like the stairs are super tiny, and in the older buildings they're like really uneven because they're made of stone. This whole thing was made in 1423. And I was the first one up. So I got there right as they opened and kind of impulsively decided to climb it because I realized I was there like right before they opened. And while I was waiting for it to open, I found they had a bunch of explanations of it, all of which were in German. So I decided that I was going to practice my German by reading all of the explanations about it, which I had about 8 minutes till they opened. And it took me about 8 minutes to read like 10 paragraphs in German because I'm not very fast and I had to look up a couple of the words. And apparently, a thing I learned is that the record for all 343 stairs is 74 seconds, which it definitely took me like closer to 3.5 minutes, but I wasn't running. Craig says, enjoying the clips, beautiful scenery. I cannot believe how massively over the top that palace is. Yeah, it's just like, there is just a lot going on there. Dean says, I was thinking more of a surveillance structure by my understanding. Yeah, I still think that might be valuable, but it's too close to Ukraine for some right now. Well, that's the thing is maybe if, you had a tea house bunker, you would feel more comfortable and knowledgeable about where your local bunker is. So it's like actually was assigned for the neighborhood there, apparently. Maybe bomb shelter tea house is the thing that we need to do. I think I have some other clips. I don't know if I've exhausted all the clips I brought. I've exhausted all the clips. Cool. That might be a sign that we're done. Anybody have any questions about Vienna? About my struggles in the German language, about my successes in the German language. So that's about all I have. It was interesting. So Slovak is actually quite related to Croatian. However, it's a different part of the Slavic language groups. So it's almost indistinguishable from Czech. It's mutually intelligible with Czech. However, it's not mutually intelligible with Croatian, but we did find that there was at least some carryover, like all of the numbers and everything, which was helpful in Slovak. That being said, people were really fine speaking English with us, and we tried our best to say please and thank you. And thank you is pronounced differently than it is in Croatian, so that was unhelpful. But I also realized how much of my Croatian I've already lost because it's been about a year since I took like a pretty sped through accelerated intro class. Rachel asked if everyone wants to talk about Ukraine and Russia. Not in my impression. We went out to dinner and with some friends in Slovakia, and it definitely was like an undertone of the conversation. I have not been having extensive conversations with anybody in Wien because I'm really just kind of here solo traveling, and so no one has asked me to talk about it, mostly because I've mostly been giving them money in exchange for food and they're leaving me alone. I used to know a drummer who practiced in the bunker in his back garden. You could tell he was playing by the thuds under your feet. I mean, a bunker is like a pretty good place to do to have a drum set, because you don't really endear yourself to any neighbors if you have a drum set. But I feel like thuds under your feet is a lot better than incessant drumming practice happening. So yeah, I think that's pretty supportive. I think I am really curious about how people are reacting to Ukraine. Maybe I should open conversations. I'd be worried that I don't have the philosophically complex German language to discuss Ukraine right now. I actually didn't even know the word for Ukrainian in German. I knew Russian in German, but I didn't know the word for Ukrainian until I got here, and then I saw it on a bunch of signs, because essentially, like, help for Ukrainian refugees is like everywhere in all the train stations and everything. Um, it was interestingly, it has actually been easier for me to get a lot of the Ukrainian signage if they have found it possible. They've been translating things into Ukrainian, but a ton of it is in English, because rather than whatever the local language is, because in Slovak, right, they don't have the expectation that most people in Slovakia speak Slovak, so they wrote it in English and then Ukrainian as far as translators. But there was like a legal aid station at the main station that was like in the main like ticket counter that was converted into Ukrainian help in Bratislava. And as far as I could tell, there was lots of people giving legal aid to Ukrainians. Rachel says, wow, there's signage and big public help for Ukrainian refugees all over. How wonderful. Yeah, I mean, this isn't just like signs. This is like things that you have to do. So because there are 2 million people that have now fled Ukraine, and most of them have fled somewhere in Europe. So there's quite a lot of it. And, you know, Slovakia is obviously on the border. So Craig says, how have you paid for your food? Local currency or cards? Oh my gosh. So Slovakia, a lot more things were willing to take cards, but in Vienna, almost everywhere has been cash only. So I took 100 euros out when we realized that it was going to, like, we were already going to have a problem with cash only. And I ran out today, and I essentially have been acting as an ATM for Aaron, because Aaron forgot his debit card. So I'm the only one with the debit card. Thank gosh one of us has it, because almost everywhere has been cash only. And then of the ones that do take credit cards, they won't take Aaron's corporate Amex card, which this is a work trip for Aaron mostly. The Bratislava part was like our personal vacation slash side hustle vacation for Aaron, because he never stops working. And yeah, so it has been really interesting how cash only. I saw a tweet a while ago about Berlin, and said, all the Berlin bars that were always cash only are now going back to cash only. Nature is healing about COVID. And Wien really feels like similar to that. And we're in last time I was doing extreme budget travel when I was in Vienna. And this time we're staying at like a nice corporate hotel, because this is a work trip for Aaron. And so work is covering the hotel and everything. And it's a conference. And yes, the hotel obviously takes both Amex and credit cards, but like the second we step, even in the like tourist area, I mean, like Vienna is one of the most heavily visited cities in the world. Like, it has so many historical structures. It's very touristic, and it's still like tons of places are cash only. So, Eric says, thank goodness at least it's euros for the currency. Yeah, I do like collecting other currencies, and I am a fan of it. And generally, euros, because they're kind of lightly pegged to the US dollar, generally, and it has fewer fluctuations vis-a-vis the US dollar relative to other currencies. Sometimes I like it when I get the other, non-Eurozone countries, like they have a different currency in Croatia. They're actually supposed to switch to the euro, but it got kind of delayed. We will see. And, right now, Croatia is quite inexpensive to visit for US dollars, and I think the prices are likely to rise when they switch to euros, just because of the way that trade is going to work for them. So, but that being said, I do appreciate that whatever change I'll have left over, I will be able to use again, because I hate the freaking euro change is just, no currency needs to have a 1 cent, a 2 cent, a 5 cent, a 10 cent, a 20 cent, and a 50 cent coin. Those are too many divisions of your coin. Like, are we still totally paused?
Now we're back.
I heard that we're back, so we'll see. I'm gonna keep vamping. Cheryl asked, have you got to study at all? Yes, I have gotten some studying done. Hopefully I will crack down on more studying this week, since I really should be doing more studying. Tomorrow I am planning on studying at the City Library of Vienna, which is actually charges an entry fee to go in because Vienna, but it is very beautiful and has a nice reading room, and that is my plan for studying tomorrow. Rachel says, left on those too many coin divisions. Well, that was really the end of the rant. One should not have a 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, 50 cent, and there's too many coin divisions. That's all I have to say about it. I will continue this rant until I die and or the European Central Bank figures out what to stop doing. The European Treasury, I guess, not the central bank. It's way too many. Dean says, all the coins, the EU is nothing but thorough. Well, the EMU, to be fair, because not all of the EU has this many coin divisions. It's outrageous how many coin divisions they have, and especially considering the relative value of their currency. People are not out there buying things in 1 and 2 cent increments of a euro, and therefore maybe you just don't need them. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. If you're going to be cash only, maybe you shouldn't price things at $2.98 or whatever it is that makes the EMU compelled to have 2 cents left off. All right, I think we might be wrapped up here. I considered doing this live stream from the bathtub because we have a bathtub in the hotel room, and I may be taking a bath every night because I haven't had a bath in my apartment in like 5 years anyway. And then I used to do it when I traveled, but then I haven't really been traveling for 2 years. So I am absolutely excited about the bath. And if I could have figured out how to do it without getting demonetized and have the sound be good, I would have live streamed from the bathtub, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. I didn't bring a swimsuit with me, so I couldn't really live stream from the bathtub naked unless I like put the camera down as low as possible and then just had my head poke out, which would have been rather interesting. Yeah, I really, really like baths, and it has been very sad to not have one for 5 years in my house. So I am super excited about that. Okay, everybody have a lovely week. I hope you have vegan cronuts in your future because that was delicious. And stay safe wherever you are in the world. Drink some water and pet a cat if you have one available. And I'll see you soon. Bye.